Hello there, my name is Griffin Armitage. I am currently 24 credit points through my Bachelor of Business in Sport Management, and I just completed my Business, Government and Law extended internship with the University of Canberra Capitals. Over this presentation, I'll take the time to discuss my placement in detail, including the knowledge and skills that I developed, and a suggestion to improve their organisation performance based on my time there. After that, I'll take a step back to holistically examine my experience as a UC intern, give advice to future interns, and offer my personal perspective on the program before concluding. My 150-hour internship was completed over 6 weeks at the WNBL's UC Capitals. The team was in the off-season with no players under contract, so a majority of my time was spent on reporting on past sponsorship obligations and events and planning upcoming ones. To do this, I regularly liaised with sponsors, prepared reports and meeting notes, and constructed planning databases. The internship helped me realize just how much effort and planning goes into seemingly simple events or fulfilling basic obligations. At an organizational level, not only does every event need to be mapped up and suitable for all the relevant stakeholders, but it also has to meet each of those stakeholders' needs to fulfill their sponsorship obligations, which again need to be recorded and reported after the event is over. My time with the Capitals doubled as experience of my first office job, so hard skills like constructing emails, mapping events plans, and attending regular scheduled meetings was a first for me. My levels of confidence and organisation in these areas greatly improved over the 6 weeks, simply due to practice and repetition. A realistic practice run on what sport management jobs may require of me in my future is perhaps the most valuable experience that this work-integrated placement offered me. As you'd expect, this experience also brought some insights into the industry. I'll preface by saying that it's well documented and researched that women's professional sports don't make as much money as their comparable male sports do. They yield significantly lower profits, and therefore most can only afford to play their athletes during the on-season and don't retain them in the off-season. Although my time with the Capitals was short, it was situated in the middle of the reporting and planning periods, which are done without players. Even through my limited work, I cannot overstate just how important it is to have the players around and how much easier it would have made the job for me if I had access to the people that I'm trying to make plans and schedules around. A lot of the time when I was approached with an opportunity, I'd have to get back to the interested parties saying, hey guys, can you just wait until September or October when the preseason starts and our players actually roll in and start receiving their off-court duties. To improve the management of events and sponsorships, I would consider establishing some off-season contact with these players to allow more planning, engage more stakeholders with commitments, and hopefully bring in more profits to pay those athletes for the additional time that they're putting in. Personally, I thought that the internship process was a huge help to my experience in and perspective of the sports management industry. I believe that I was able to make the most of the opportunity prior to, during, and at the completion of my internship by integrating the 4P framework of professionalism, preparedness, proactiveness, and psychological ownership into my work. Professionalism and preparedness were integral to my work, both in making a good impression internally and also with external stakeholders. So I dressed formally, I was punctual, I did background research on my sponsors, and I made sure to proofread all of my emails. Small things like this make a huge difference on others' perceptions of you. Proactiveness and psychological ownership also benefited my personal learning. For example, when I completed a task at hand, I would continue to work on supplementary material to improve its quality, or I would ask my supervisor for additional related work. Taking pride in my work and motivating myself to push for quality really opened my eyes to the difference it made with my supervisor, my colleagues, and other businesses, something that I'll be sure to take forward into my career. If I had to advise future interns about one simple thing though, it would be that they are the driver of their work and therefore the driver of their learning as well. As I mentioned, there were days where I would finish my work early because they didn't set me enough to do, and I would guess that organizations tend to err on the side of caution with their interns because they don't want to set them too much and scare them away or give too much to the new guy, right? However, Asking for more work allowed me to make effective use of my available internship hours. This not only built my experience to a greater extent, but had the added bonus of looking good for my supervisor. To make the most of that internship experience, I think you've got to be willing to push yourself proportionately to what you're hoping to get out of the program. So if you want to have those benefits of experience in the workplace, you need to put in the effort of actually working hard. You've probably gotten the impression by now that I enjoyed my time in the unit, which is correct. But that doesn't mean that there isn't more work that can be done on UC's end. It's not a perfect program, and I think it could be improved with some additional investment of resources. I think that because work integrated placements are so unique and individualized, that a stronger personalized support network probably could have benefited me. When I started my internship, the winter's term had not even started yet. So I was in week 1 and I didn't have access to my assignments. I didn't have a contact that I could contact for advice, and I didn't have access to the classroom at all. So I think in a perfect world, if UC could employ 1 or 2 additional unit conveners to run the program or run the units all the way throughout the year flexibly, that would be a super big help for students, allowing that individualized, personalized, flexible approach to the work integrated learning. Additionally, I would allow flexible enrollment dates, so don't just start in a winter term or a semester 2. You can start whenever you want, you can complete it whenever you want. You have completely flexible and personalized assignment dates, and you have regular online or in-person meetings with the unit convener and with other students, just to share advice depending on what stage you're at, alongside everyone else who are taking different stages of internships as well. I recognize that a lot of these things are already included in the program to some extent, such as a semi-flexible enrollment schedule and online workshops, which are more accessible for everyone. But what I would like to see is it become even more flexible, because I think that would be more beneficial to all of the work integrated learners. If the program was completely flexible, it would have allowed me to work on my tasks at the perfect time for me to work on those assessment tasks relevant to my placement. Of course, I think there would be budget, staffing, study alignment constraints that would make this really difficult. So I don't think it's as easy as opening it up for complete flexibility. But I do think that students and workplaces could benefit if we dedicated a little bit of time towards thinking of a better solution to make it even more flexible. Simply put, just make the internship opportunities even more flexible to better suit the students and the workplaces who are a part of this program. Despite that criticism though, I did really enjoy the unit overall. I think that my time as the events and sponsorship coordinator at the University of Capitals was an eye-opening insight into the industry, and the ability to integrate that into my degree was invaluable. Based on my experience, I think that work integrated learning placements are extremely beneficial. I personally worked on hard skills such as developing my event management, planning and mapping deliverables, and even just general emailing expertise, as well as gaining a realistic perspective on the work behind the scenes in the sport industry, something that I wouldn't be able to do without this experience. This also gave me some insights into how to improve the industry's management efficiency, which was great. To make the most out of my experience, I endeavored to put hard work in equal effort to the experience that I wanted out of it. And I would advise future interns to do the same thing if they want to try and get the most out of their learning too. The program is flexible and it's individually driven, which is great, and that definitely aided my learning. But I do think that it could improve by enhancing that flexibility year round. Finally, I want to say a big thank you to UC, Greg and Tom, and my team at the UC Capitals for making this such a valuable working and learning experience for me. Thanks, guys.